Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Challenge All Stars 5 Rivals or RHAP podcast for episode 11. I am Brian Cohen. With me, as always, is my co host, Lasher. Ali, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm proving that there is absolutely nowhere I won't show up with wet hair. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good for the non YouTube people. This is a no glasses affair for Ali. That was a one time thing last week, so no glasses. But I'm doing good.
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in all honesty, I did text you. I think this is maybe the third final in a row I've texted you in between the first and the second episode to be like, we only do one for this, right? And you're like, no.
Yeah, no, it's become the second tradition. You know, my birthday in September, and do we split the finale into two parts or keep it to one? We treat the finales as their own. We combine the reunions, which there are no for All Stars, but that is, I believe, what we have done in the past. So here we are.
I'm always out here trying to avoid this episode, even though objectively you're right. We should record one, which is why we're here.
What episode do you dread more? Or no, what episode do you think less happens in, the part one of the reunion or part one of the final?
Well, I guess it's not. I guess part one of the. Well, I don't think it's necessarily based on which does less happen in. It's more like, I think when I was like telling myself when you didn't bite on really making it one part for both episodes, I was like, well, it's probably fair because people will still want a podcast after the first part of the final. Mm-hmm. I don't think as many people will demand a podcast after part one of the reunion.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And not normally. Sometimes in finals, we would have had elimination right now through this episode. So could be that dramatics to talk about. Not this time, which is okay. But sometimes that could happen. But we did get, they set the stage. They gave a lot of people some of their clips about like what they want to do for the money. And it was, I thought, a pretty well-constructed final. So I think it's, good things to talk about.
Yeah, I think it continues the All-Stars trend and really the recent trend. I mean, I feel like we haven't had that big of a problem with a final. That feels very vintage us, is like the final was terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really shifted away from the all-in-one shot. We haven't had just a one-day race for a final. I'm sure someone can fact-check me. It was probably like All-Stars 3, which honestly it might have been when like China won. But I feel like even that, there was like many stages and stuff, but I feel like we haven't had a start-to-finish race for a final in quite a long time.
And what I think is good about this checkpoint, so the final format is sort of as expected, a variety of checkpoints. First place gets 4 stars, fourth place gets 1 star, with the addition that if you don't finish, 0 stars goose egg for anyone who times out. And then the most stars at the end wins. Going into the last checkpoint, it will be a race because we'll know, it's been made very clear, at least in part one, like how the stars shake out. We know who's in the lead going into part 2. Presumably we will still have some sort of momentum into the last checkpoint.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It'll be a race. Presumably, I think it's pretty clear that one team is not going to Jordan it and be so far out in front that there's no way, even if there was a karma point addition, that it would matter. I think there's going to be at least 2 teams in the mix, maybe 3 going into the last checkpoint. So that'll be very exciting to see how it all plays out. I mean, look, they've already done this was like 5 checkpoints in. Whole another episode next week, looking like maybe even 10 checkpoints. So a lot of skills to test along the way.
And it doesn't seem, I think TJ said like verbatim, the most stars win. So it's not like they're going to get to the last checkpoint and say the team with the most stars gets a 5-minute head start and then it runs out. So it might be that one team just needs to come in second place to win. And like the team, the next most team has to come in fourth. Like there are configurations, but like, I feel like we'll be very on top of it, or I will try to be while watching it. And that will enhance the enjoyment.
And I know you mentioned it, but I do very much like if you don't finish, you get 0 points, because it prevents once it's over, whoever's in last can just like take the breather and just like not do it. it opens up things for more people to come back because now it's potentially a 4-point swing in a single checkpoint, not just 3. So that's a good addition that they've added in, and I hope every checkpoint along the way has some sort of timeout mechanism. So I think that was a very smart one.
I agree totally. Let's go back a few steps because we do get a little bit of a filler in the beginning of the episode, but I actually thought a lot of it was pretty fun. And some of it we're talking about. I do want to say apologies to Meg or whatever Nicole's ex-girlfriend's name is, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nicole, I defended you. And I still, I still think it's not for certain that there was like a hookup. But I think at this hour, Nicole has done enough to cause questioning and embarrass her girlfriend, makes her look stupid. Now I'm out. Now the call with Mel and the girlfriend is diabolical. Like now everything, justice for Veronica, it just like puts everything into a different light.
Yeah, it's tough when you get the underwear off, the star popping up to hide some things, and then the yada yada yada, Nicole coming out of the tent later. It's hard to defend that if you're Nicole and you have to explain that to your girl back home of, oh no, nothing happened. It's like I just got my toe sucked. Nothing really happened. There's nothing to worry about. It's a tough one, but that's the price you pay with Nicole.
So I just do think that if the challenge had them hooking up, we'd see it. Like, I think the star going over it, like, why are they putting a star over it? Like, we've seen Blur, we've seen Night Vision, we've seen people hook up on the show.
Yeah, I mean, it could be implied that maybe they've done their hooking up in areas where they can't show it, and now this is like them strongly implying with other things around the house that the hookup has happened. We just can't show it, but we're going to show what we can to imply that it has happened.
Now, Nicole has made her own bed on like Turbo in the couch. Like, because Nicole's personality, so much of Nicole's character being I cheat on my girlfriends on the show, and I have issues with exes on the show, and Cara and Laurel and all that. There are so many people that the challenge has hidden their cheating, like Jay and Olivia, right? Like they exposed it at the reunion. But there have been many, many hookups on the show that we haven't seen. There are people allegedly who MTV has always protected in their relationships. Bad job by Nicole. I mean, good job by Nicole because it's one of the main reasons I think she gets brought back. But bad job by her because if you're going to cheat on your girlfriend, they're going to expose it because it's your personality and your character.
Yeah, and it does seem like they were more openly flirtatious than some other cheatings have been. Like at least other people have maybe tried to hide it a little bit more, but also that could be the show protecting them as much as they want. I don't know. But yeah, this is Nicole's, this is Nicole's thing, is cheating on their partner. So when they have it, they're going to run with it.
The other thing I think that was interesting here is like Sam and Frank's evolution. We've talked about it a lot throughout the season. But like Sam kind of saying to Camera, like, I don't care if Frank has to drag me over the line. Like if he's intense with me, like I want whatever to win. It really is a testament to the evolution of their relationship and where the relationship wasn't back on Battle of the Seasons. That like now I do, like, obviously I don't believe Frank is going to berate Sam to anywhere close to the level he did last time. But you can earn a more firm and intense relationship with your partner in a way that Shane has not with Devon, or a way that Frank had not with Sam in that first time they did a final together. So I really do think it is interesting. It's like what Shane had complained to Adam about, like, I might have been yelling, but I wasn't disrespectful. Well, you haven't earned the right to yell at me. And I like Sam kind of being the foil to the Shane and Devon team that's coming next, of being like, Frank can yell at me in this challenge. That's fine. Like, I want to win.
Yeah, there needs to be a built-up of trust going in. If you're just like yelling all the time and treating them like crap when you're yelling in a final and like the pressure's high, it's not going to get the respect that you want back. But if you've built up that, camaraderie, that partnership, that teamwork that Frank and Sam clearly have had through this season, when the yelling might start happening or the firming talking might start happening, it might hit a little bit better. I still question in the moment how much Sam would appreciate it, when it's happening. I think there could be a confessional being like, "Oh, I'm letting like Frank down. This is like not working," or something. I don't know. There could be something along the way. It's easy. It's easy to say like, "Yes, yell at me and push me," when you're like chilling at the house and you're not in the thick of it. When you're in the moment, the feelings might be a little bit different.
That's valid. We get a quick hit on what everyone wants to do with the money. Sam wants to get top surgery, buy a house. Davon, Adam, and Mel all really focused on their kids and providing for their kids, all very nice. And then Nicole hits them with the hard question. Who's going to be friends after this? Shane and Davon? Just like direct hit. I loved this moment.
Yeah, it is kind of wild how Davon answers it, only because like I understand she's going to be real. She wants to like be straight up. She's not going to be fake with it. However, knowing what we know about how this final is going to play out with the choice of like the steal and split, and knowing how it was such a topic of conversation at the beginning of the season, wouldn't you want to be on good terms, even fake good terms with your partner? It just feels like Davon has very much given Shane the out now with kind of this answer of, look, she's not my friend. She said so herself. I'm going to steal the money from her. Why wouldn't you at least just fake it and just give him the fake answer of, yeah, we've gone through a lot, but, we'll be friends after this.
Or the like in between answer of like, well, let's see what happens in the final.
Sure.
In the final, we could be friends, ha ha ha, chuckle, chuckle. And it's a non-answer to the question. I mean, it is I'm on Davon's side that it is annoying that everybody at the table knows how they both feel. And Shane is like, well, I don't know if Davon considers me a friend, but I'm like so blessed to have her in my life as a friend. And literally, like, when Davon is like, why is he mad? And Adam's like, well, Shane's willing to pretend that you're in a positive situation, and he's offended that you're unwilling to be fake with him. At that point, when everybody knows, including Shane and Davon, that he's being fake, it's more insulting to give that answer and want to play that part. That said, I totally agree with you. It is a bizarre position to have. Maybe Davon really doesn't think they could win. All we have to go off of is what Davon has reacted to, and Shane's like, well, I'm not going to help her win any money. Davon's like, if that's what's in his heart, God bless him. Like, I feel like Davon really is like, I can only control myself. I'm going to always be 100% honest. And if he wants to sabotage me, he could take that up with his God. Like, I feel like Davon's like sort of, hands off, like give it up to God approach seems to bring her a lot of peace and is really awesome and enviable. And also here may bring her the loss of half of $250,000.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous game that Davon is playing, and I really hope it doesn't go that way. That would be quite devastating for a lot of people to watch that happen to Davon, but I don't know. It's tough.
It did get us a great forget about it from Nicole, which was like all time. But okay, so now that we've had this setup scene with Shane and Davon, spoiler alert, Shane and Davon do really well in the first half of the final. I did poll our Facebook group to say, coming into this episode, before the episode aired, who did they think was going to win? And I'd like to just report on those stats.
Please.
Now I did have an answer. 9% of the vote went to the real winners are the rivals we made along the way. So, whatever. So Adam and Steve, the unsurprising favorite, 83% of the vote.
Yep.
Frank and Sam at 5%. Shane and Davon at 2%. Mel and Nicole, nary a vote.
That's surprising.
He says sarcastically.
It's surprising that. It's surprising that Frank and Sam got more percent than Shane and Davon. I wonder if that's what people more want to see. But I feel like people would be rooting for Davon. But I feel like objectively coming in, Shane and Davon would clearly be the second best team. I think I agree with like the 80% gap between them and Adam and Steve. But I do think of the other three, they're the best equipped for this final, given Sam's endurance issues and Nicole and Mel's puzzle issues.
Yeah, I think it's definitely I think people said it was a little bit I'm being contrarian, like if it's not Adam and Steve, I want it to be Frank and Sam. And I think part of it might also be like sort of the subconscious edit of like Frank and Sam's journey. They've had like a really interesting story arc throughout. That said, has the obvious winners edit been under our nose this whole time? I have two questions for you. One, we find out from TJ that everyone's going to get money, including fourth place is going to get 5,000 as long as they finish.
Give them $5,000.
Do you think every team's going to have the option to split or share, or do you think it's just going to be first place?
It's a good question. So in Rivals 3, famously when Bananas took the money from Sarah, all three teams did have the option. The other two chose to share. I believe when Ashley took from Hunter, they were the only ones.
Winner. But weren't they the only ones that got money, or no?
Actually, that's probably the case because it was $1 million. So I doubt they're giving out more than $1 million. So that would be the answer. So I think it's only going to be the first place team with the option of sharing and split. I mean, look, it's $5,000. If they're giving up the option, like splitting $5,000, like what are we doing here? Like that has like it. I think it only matters for the first place team on the grand scheme. So I would guess that's where this is leading to.
I think okay. So if every team gets the option to split, then what I'm about to say doesn't matter, and therefore I hope every team has the option to split. If this entire season has been building up to Shane and Davon win, and it's whether they split or share, which it does feel like that is now what, like now it feels so obvious. Like now it feels like they are going to have an option to split or share. I will be pissed. So I have to put my chips behind. Every team has the option because they want us to see what happens with Shane and Davon. And it's not that their rivalry like implodes their game, because they're doing extremely well in the final. So I think they want that payoff of Shane and Davon in a way that I just don't believe Adam and Steve would pay off in the same way.
Yeah. So the payoff, I would agree, between Adam and Steve wouldn't be as dramatic as Shane and Davon, but they've been reminding us consistently of Adam's relative disdain for Steve throughout the season and how he wanted like that apology, how he felt so hurt and betrayed. So they have been laying that groundwork for if Adam were to go on to steal the money from Steve. It's not as big, but I think they have been doing it.
I think the groundwork that's been laid is that Steve would steal. Because Adam asked for the apology, then healed his own apology. Adam is being schooled by Veronica on how to even play this game. He doesn't know how to stab anyone in the back. He votes himself in. He's like, I'm pretending I'm mad. Haha, is it working? Steve is like, I'd still do it again. Then they have the flashback to Adam and Steve on Road Rules where like their prior clashing, where Adam was like being a jerk in the flashback, and it was like, don't yell at me, when Steve like hadn't yelled at him. So I think the problem for me is not necessarily that it hasn't been discussed. It's that I just don't believe either of them would steal the money. I'd be almost happy to be wrong, because like, well, I don't want it to play out that way. It'd be fascinating. I just think Adam, even if he was tempted by it, sort of operates again within his own justice system as a person who has a moral compass and knows right and wrong. And I just think Steve is like kind of a nice guy. I don't know. Like, I just don't see it being in either of their character.
And now obviously the one change this time around, last time it was obviously a paired final, but it was also sort of an individual final, because technically Bananas beat Sarah and Ashley beat Hunter. So they individually got the chance. It seems like there's no sense that this is like an individual type thing, unless they save that for somehow like the last checkpoint along the way. It seems like the option is going to be, prisoner's dilemma type thing of they each have the option. And I would imagine it's going to go, if they each choose to share, they share. If one chooses to steal, that person gets it all. And then the dramatic option of if they each choose to steal, they get nothing. I wonder if they would bump the prize money down to the next team. I would guess that. I think MTV would just pocket that, or Paramount in this case would just pocket it. But I guess that is also the one change for how this would go down.
It's a great call out, because I do think even if you hate your partner, both of you walking away with nothing is like, do either of those pairs really hate each other to like risk having nothing? It is a different decision to say, well, am I going to get $1 million or $500,000? You're getting money either way. And it's just, well, how much do I want people to hate me? To look like a goon and both steal is so bad. Like, it's so bad.
That's why it would be very funny. It would be very funny if they did it for all the places. And fourth place, instead of like the $5,000 to split, they just each try to steal it and they each get nothing. That'd be very funny. Maybe that's what it's building towards Frank and to Shane and Devon. They have a colossal collapse in day 2. They finish 4th, and instead of splitting the $5,000, they walk away with nothing.
Because $5,000 is comically low, should the money have been divided differently? So first place is going to get $250,000, second place $35,000, third place $10,000, fourth place $5,000. I think $5,000 is too low to even be worth it. Like, I think the minimum prize money for 2 people should be $10,000.
Yeah, it is low. I also think this like second place feels too low also compared to first. I think second place should be higher. Like first place, I feel like should just be 200, and let's give out that $50,000 else between the other 3 and like sort it out a little bit better. 5K is, I mean, if they split it, that's $2,500 a pop. I mean, it's
tax at 50%.
It might not even be tax. It's that low. It's like below. It might be below the taxable income threshold, so you might be okay. So at least maybe you can walk away with it all, but. Check with your accountant first, but it's low.
Yeah, I like the big drop between first and second. I would say my ideal is 225, 75. I wrote 5 numbers here. Oh no, that was my intern math. Don't get me on the job. I think it could go from 225 to 50, and then 15, and then 10. Like, or something of that, give or take $5,000 across. Like, I don't mind a big drop, but you cannot give lower than 10. You cannot give lower than 5 apiece. Come on, TJ.
But I don't mind them giving some in the fourth. I do feel bad when you make the final, you do all the things, and you get nothing. Like, I felt so bad for like Kylan last season in 40 when he just knows he's going about the business and he's not going to get a nickel. So, like, if you walked there with $5,000, I'd be like, you know what? He finished the final. He deserved, like, to get a flight somewhere.
I think we both agree. Like, I don't like when it's just one person gets the money. I don't like when there's no money, because you want to be incentivized to finish, like sort of the Devin free agents spot, right? Wasn't she in third, like struggling up the ice mountain? I don't know. Don't clock me. I don't care. Right. But I just think 10 is too, like, in that case with Kylan, he would have gotten 5. So the prize should be 10 at minimum. Like,
right. That would be the equivalent of giving out $2,500. Yeah. No,
because I could see someone dying. Like, it doesn't seem like this is going to be the setup, although the last checkpoint could be like with a huge race up somewhere. Right. But like, I could see someone in deep physical pain after 2 days and being like, $2,500 pre-tax is not worth it. Like, right. I have to give up.
I won't even cover my deductibles for the medical stuff. I need to do it back home.
All right, let's get into the final proper.
All right, let's get into it right after this. All right, we're back. So TJ lays out the final, multiple checkpoints, multiple stages, as we already mentioned. You'll be collecting stars along the way. First place, you got 4, all the way down to 1. If you don't finish, timeout, you get 0. The first checkpoint, right off the bat, called Coding Ball. You have to memorize a bunch of symbols and then carry another one of those medicine balls, breaking back out from the elimination, I think. Carrying it up the famous dunes up to the top of the mountain of dunes to recreate or crack the code that the symbols were creating.
I liked this. I do want to shout out to like the results being that Mel and Nicole win first place, Shane and Devon second, Adam and Steve a distant third, and then Sam and Frank timeout. Sam was correct. Like, Sam definitely struggled on the Sand Mountain, which, like, that is a physically challenging feat that I wouldn't want to do either. But in their dispute at the end with the letters, Sam's like, I don't think the D is right. And Frank is like, I really think it is. And Sam was correct. So it's not just Sam's fault.
No, it was not. I mean, look, Frank had to know this was obviously their worst nightmare as a duo coming in. It's unbelievable that they had this as the first checkpoint after everything that Frank and Sam had to do together in their Battle of the Seasons final, but then they do it right here. Frank has to know, like, Sam's going to be spent by the time they get to the top of that. This, like, the decoding has to all be on Frank. It's a lot of pressure to put on him, but I'm sure he has to know that. So the fact that he wasn't able to do it himself is not great. But shout out to Mel and Nicole. Like, this was something, if we see it play out, like, we wouldn't have expected them to finish anything better than third, or even though we thought maybe they would be the one to time out. So the fact that they come out with the win to start, and then Adam and Steve in third, kind of sets the stage for a very close day one of this entire final. The fact that Mel and Nicole got the first win.
Yeah, this is the first challenge of several where I think the results are not certainly on day one what we expected them to be and what the audience expected them to be. But I'm defending Sam. Not only like could Frank not do it on his own, Sam was correct about the metric. And you mentioned it. They flash back to it that this was like very similar, junior version sort of what happened in Battle of the Seasons. It has to be like intentional, right? Like, I'm not saying they built a sand mountain, but like,
right. I mean, look, if Frank and Sam don't make this final, maybe they do something else for the first stage. It does feel very coincidental that they are doing this right off the bat, given the history that is Frank and Sam.
And then checkpoint 2, another callback, but to this season, we get the elimination that Leroy and Devin went out in.
Yeah, this was not. Normally I could see them like sort of redoing some things, but this was just straight up them doing the elimination again. Like, it was the same exact thing of moving the barrels and doing the number of things.
But they didn't. Well, like, it didn't end up paying off. But like, I thought it was an interesting move to change it to like that hashtag position because, like, in theory, there could have been like some tussling, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think TJ even normally when there are those like crossover type things. I think back to like the Rivals or one of the last Rivals dailies where like CT like blew through all of them and they went exploding. Like, he sets it up of like there may be some collisions when you cross the middle. Like, he didn't even set that up. I wonder if they were even allowed to push or touch or shove each other. I would guess probably not. Because I feel like he would have set that up of like, oh, if you cross over, you can knock your opponent out or whatever. So I guess they probably weren't even allowed to hit each other.
Yeah, or even you'd have to wait because the other person's going through. Like, I don't know how it logistically worked, but right. Another like sort of surprise result in that Shane and Davon take first place, Adam and Steve come in second, Mel and Nicole in third, Frank and Sam do finish, so they've picked up their first star in the second checkpoint.
Yeah, but to be through 2 checkpoints and 3 teams to be tied, especially again, like you do a poll, 80% people are going to think Adam and Steve are going to run away with this, and to have they won all these dailies, all these eliminations, third place, second place, pretty crazy.
Wait, they're not all tied.
They're not all tied. As I said that, I realized that Adam and Steve were behind. I take that back.
Well, because none of them are tied.
Yeah, I take it back.
Okay, so just to set up, because I can't rely on quick math, the running total after 2 checkpoints is Davon and Shane are in first place with 7, Nicole and Mel with 6, Adam and Steve with 5, and Frank and Sam with an abysmal 1.
Yeah, it's amazing that after checkpoints, no one was tied. But Adam and Steve did not pull out a win.
We do see Frank starting to get upset of like, he was maybe a little bit upset in the beginning of the season, and then he was able to so sort of artfully use their perceived weakness as a strength and become like a really big social player. Now he kind of can't. He's being confronted with the reality that he cannot game this. This will not be like challenges they could really automatically or easily win. Mm-hmm. And he's getting frustrated. I really do respect how Frank sort of handles and channels the frustration though in this moment.
Yeah, he doesn't really take it out on Sam directly. He takes a moment for himself. He walks away. He lets like the emotions kind of take over, but he does it like after the checkpoint is done. He's not doing things during it. He's not yelling at her during it or anything like that. They finish it. They finish fourth, and he just kind of lets it hit him of like, this is, it's easy to say through the season, oh, we're probably not going to win. We don't have much of a chance. Da 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 da. Like you mentally brace yourself for that, but then when you're actually in it and you go timeout fourth, it's the reality of it hitting you that we really didn't really stand much of a chance. But I mean, to your point earlier, like Frank kind of cost them the first checkpoint. They could have, if he was able to do it, maybe finish second or third or something. So, but it's still just, it's the reality when you're experiencing. It's different than what you try to brace yourself throughout the season.
100%. Like I wouldn't blame any partner for like hitting this limit and being frustrated. Like you want to believe there's a chance. You put in a lot on the line here. There's a lot of money at stake. But there are ways to handle this in a way that destroys like the rest of the checkpoints. And I think like Sam is frustrated too. Like I think Sam understands and takes ownership in certain ways of the ways that Frank is frustrated. So good on them, as is my new catchphrase.
Mm-hmm. The third checkpoint for me was my favorite of the three.
Ooh, interesting.
I thought it was very, very fun of them using kind of a sling contraption to lift up and move a series of buckets, 28 of them, to build a tower. But the key part here that I thought was fun, and I think they probably could have utilized it a little bit more, was each team got a ball. And at one point during this checkpoint, you can try to sabotage one of the other teams by throwing the ball at their pyramid. And I think it was very interesting to see how each of these pairs decide to go about it.
Break it down. I should be like, break it down now. Okay.
So I think Adam's the first one to pull out the sabotage ball. And as Frank notes, wildly decides to go at Frank simply because Adam, just straightforward mindset. All he could think of is, well, Frank broke to deal with him. I want to get my revenge on Frank, so I'm going to throw the ball at Frank. And unfortunately, he throws it and just straight misses. Doesn't accomplish anything, loses their ball, and also targets the team that they should not be targeting. So not exactly the brightest decision here by Adam.
It was frustrating to me. And again, like, is this a person who's going to steal the money? Now, maybe this is the best evidence that he will, because he's willing to make such a bad move for his own game for spite. More sympathetic I could not be. Like, maybe he's going to be like, Steve, you spited me. I'm going to spite you off of season 4 and risk losing the money completely.
Yeah, Adam is very spiteful. That is abundantly clear, as he could know, or he could be told what the right decision is, but if there is a spite option, that is the path that Adam is going to take. That's what he took here. But then we see Frank, who I would say is kind of the opposite of that for the most part. He is much more logically focused and knows he sees Shane and Devon nearly winning. He gets the ball and times it perfectly. This is what why other people kind of failed with some of these things. He waits for both of them to be like on the platform dealing with their slings. There's no time for them to jump down and run around. He jumps in, runs to the line, throws the ball, and knocks a good amount of Shane and Devon's baskets off.
Yeah, and what I liked about this is the option, like the portion of it is like every minute your partner can't build the tower without you. So if you go do the ball, it's a minute you can't be stacking the basket. So Mel and Nicole don't throw the ball at all, I don't think. Not that we see.
They don't show it. Yeah.
It doesn't help them. They're in last place. But what is interesting about Adam's choice is like, it was a bad strategic move, but it did kind of work because Devon and Shane then go to throw it at Frank and Sam to just retaliate, even though they should have still thrown it at Adam and Steve because they were in first place. So I do think it unintentionally does help them.
Sure.
And they finished in first. So I guess I shouldn't really dog them that hard.
Right. But then, so like Frank is very successful with his shot. And then Shane does the worst thing you could do when you're trying to do this shot is like waits for Frank. Like if you're preparing this shot, I wonder if there's like a no give back thing where when you are preparing the shot and Frank is like right there to defend it. If I was Shane, I'd be like, just kidding. I'm going to save it. I'm not going to throw it right now because he's right there. You're not going to get it past him and block it. You might as well just like go back and try to lift the baskets here. So that was bizarre by Shane. I think we got to see a glimpse as to how Frank and also Veronica were able to run laps around some of these people, because as smart as like Shane might be and Adam, it does seem like there's some strategic thinking that is lacking when push comes to shove with some of these decision making.
You don't say. Yeah, agreed. So now, Brian, there is a tie.
Yes, thank God.
Davon and Shane, Adam and Steve tied with 9 stars. Nicole and Melton 7. Frank and Sam picking up a little bit of speed in that second place win with 4 stars. And yeah, like this is sort of the running theme of the episode. Like going into checkpoint 4, like if you told me it was going to be this close between 3 of the teams, I'd be shocked. I am shocked. Color me shocked.
Yeah, absolutely shocked. To see Shane and Davon putting up such a good fight. Even again, Mel and Nicole right there. Mel has incredible reactions. I don't recall this from her in other seasons, but like we've got to see it with the Big T elimination when like her whatever they were building came tumbling down. She was like distraught. She had a great reaction in their elimination when like the needle was very close to like hitting the ball. She had a great reaction there. She's had even here like a couple of great reactions when their tower was going up and the pieces started tumbling down. She just is. She needs to be like a background actor in like disaster movies of just like letting out shrieks of horror when like the storm hits and like things are going crazy. Like she would have been great in Paradise when shit was hitting the fan with that. So that could be Nicole's another side gig. I know, or Mel's side gig. I know she has their other side gig, but this could be an additional part.
I mean, I'd watch it. It's like she needs to be in that like Johnny Fairplay like movie, like horror movie with the reality TV stars from when like RHAP was coming up.
Perfect.
That'll hit for like 3 people. All right, let's get to checkpoint 4 because when TJ set up checkpoint 4, Camping Chaos, I didn't like think it was going to be what it ended up being.
Yeah, it was quite chaos. He laid it. It was a good title, Camping Chaos. So there is a very elaborate and particular camping setup of 42 pieces. You have to run back and forth. I don't know if they said exactly how far the run was, but it seemed like a decent stretch around around the turn.
I mean, it was short enough that I think Frank and Sam were like talking to each other during it. So
yeah, so it could have been just a little, around the street corner of where the camping setup was, and you have to bring back one piece at a time and recreate it exactly how it is set up.
So when TJ first said it, he said it's like he did it in the one that Veronica and Katie won when Dario and Ashley like set everybody off, where he said it's the person who gets the team that gets the most right in the shortest amount of time. When it ended up being was the team that gets all of them right first. I thought it was going to be like you lock in and then like slow and steady could win the race.
Yeah, no, this was, you can guess as many times as you want. But if you're wrong, you have to go back to check. But normally with these type of things, you normally can't go one at a time. It was interesting that some people were able to rest, to your point, like they were kind of just to shout out, like, which way is the candle facing? Normally you have to like run back and forth with your partner. I don't know if I like that or don't like that. I just thought it was interesting that I think at moments like Sam was just like chilling there. So I thought that was an interesting twist to it. But I like that it had to be very, very elaborate. Some things that you could point out could be wrong, but I do wonder. It's like, I mean, you can't make the fork to like the 10th of the degree. Like it can't be exactly perfect. Like what is their threshold? Like when you're folding the napkin, like they said it's like a perfect square. I think it was. Are they measuring to make sure it's like exactly like what is their degree of this is perfectly recreated?
It was crazy. I would love to hear, and I'm sure as the week goes on, we'll hear more from contestants who are on the other podcast. But like, I would love to hear how this actually was experienced. It's also like TJ is not judging this. Like, I'm sure they have monitors and he's in his ear, but like, totally. It's just like, was there a delay in that? Because it's like during the game. But what Mel and Nicole's last thing was like the sleeping bag, and it seemed like she turned it like 15 degrees. Right. It must be that like the seam was out, like the way it was rolled was out versus in, and not like the sun's casting a shadow exactly at due west. But it did look pretty tedious. I just think I wish they like could have only locked in once. Like I get why it played out the way that they did. I just wish there was like a little bit more of the like, do we want to be really quick and sloppy? Do we want to like be Frank and Sam and more meticulous? about it.
I not that I think there was foul play, but this is where I understand where if you're like doing like one of these like remembering a code, a sequence, or something like that it's like an exact symbol. So it's not like, oh, their camping bag was like turned at 74 degrees and it should have been 76. Where it's just like, if you're right, and it can't be a subjective thing like to do this. So, and this did feel like there could have been some subjectiveness to it of if things were exactly right. So that is my little bit of a hesitant about this one.
Yeah, they did give us a strong effort of like the editors showing us what was off and like showing us the picture of the table and showing it us. But yeah, I'd be curious, is there like a Horacio style like issue that's going to come out of this? I don't know, probably not, but we'll see. I'm open to it. it. Now, what did you think of TJ feeding the fire of like Adam and Steve come down to the fight about the napkin, like you mentioned, and Steve's maintaining he's right, Adam thinks he's wrong, and TJ's like, by the way, you were right about those napkins.
TJ gets in the mix a little bit. I mean, it is interesting of stoking the flames a little bit, but he gives his commentary every once in a while, so I don't mind it. And what did you think of him playing the guitar?
I wanted him to be like, I don't want to go to bed whenever I'm tired. Right. I don't want to go to bed.
I think they could have played that up even more of him like playing a song to like mess with the contestants of like, I have my fork on the left side. I have my sleeping bag. This like he's just like saying things like randomly to throw them off. But I did like that the song he was playing, like the little like music citation that like pops up.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
That was they gave him the credit. That was funny.
All right, so we finished with those. That's the last checkpoint of the day. And the running total, Shane and Devon in first place with 13. Adam and Steve in striking distance, 10 stars. Nicole and Mel with 9 stars. And Frank and Sam with 7. So well-designed right final.
I mean, Frank and Sam, I think it would take a lot for them to jump everyone to get the first, but they could easily make a move to get second or third here. So they're very much in play. I guess the other part with the stealing is because the other 2 instances, it was laid out that it's like an individual type thing. So they knew going through the final that this was an option of like what's to come. Here they don't. So it's going to be like thrust upon them theoretically at the end of it. I wonder how people would be treating people differently. I would imagine, although we saw with Devon, maybe this is not the case. I wonder if people would be more nice to their partner or what like the dynamics would be if they knew what was to come.
Okay, wait. Remind me, I'm going to the Rivals 3 wiki. So he told them that it was going to be individual. Did he tell them like what the winner was going to be able to do? Or did they just know that there was like something that was going to change?
I believe at the start of the final, he said like the winning person will get a choice of what to do with the money.
Okay, yeah, it does say that in the wiki.
Yeah, not the start of the season. That was like the whole thing that Banana like preached on, but it was like the start of the final.
Gotcha. Look, if the first half of the challenge, I think a few goals are 1, be interesting and fun to watch just on its own. Okay, I think check. 2, be designed so that it's not just one person running away and there's still intrigue. I think across the board, there's interest. It's close and it could go any one of several ways. And 3, get me excited to watch the second half if you're going to do 2 parts, which I'm interested in seeing 2 parts. So I think 4 out of 4 stars.
Also, I would add another thing. Don't make the whole thing swimming. And they've done that. So no swimming
I defend
yet.
swimming. Swimming and running are the same. I defend that.
I don't know if
just because people are more comfortable, running is more common. Still cardio, still difficult.
I wouldn't even want the whole thing to be running. That's what I like about these checkpoints. Like some things weren't running at all. Some things were just, going around the corner to get the mail and then you're coming right back. That's how far you were running.
Don't bring the challenge proper finals into this.
Exactly. We will be back next week for we are crowning a champion. Very exciting. See who we crown as a champion. Be sure to subscribe. robhaswebsite.com/challenge feed. Cohen Brian _ on Twitter. Challenge wrap-ups on TikTok. Really value.
Oh, I have a thanks to finally someone wrote us a 5-star review. so I could stop seeing the mean people. Ewag, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Been checking every day for like 3 weeks. Preach.
Love it. Thanks, Ewag. What do you think? It's Eric Wagner?
Wow, why is it got to be a man? Honestly, it's like someone being nice. That's probably a woman.
Erica Wagner?
Or it's like an electronic dog that wags its tail.
That is also a very compelling option.
Woof woof.
We'll be back next week to crown the winner of All Stars 5. Until then, have a good one.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.